Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Our next session is about omni-channel marketing and how programmatic digital out-of-home is driving impactful results in this area. Our moderator, Jonathan Goodeye, is a good friend and he's CEO of Adomni. And Jonathan also sits on our DPAA Board of Directors. Jonathan is coming to us live from Vegas, live from Las Vegas. Jonathan, please take over now and welcome you, and you welcome your guests.
Oh, hi, how's it going? I was wondering, is digital out of home just for branding, or is it also a performance marketing channel too? Back when I ran an e-commerce company, I sure as hell couldn't answer that question if you ask me. We looked at what everyone else was doing and we tried to figure out what worked best, which pretty much meant search, social, and mobile. We threw it against the wall to see what would stick and slept well at night because we had a conversion report delivered every morning. We claimed that we would experiment with different channels and approaches, but in reality, the media mix didn't change much. Honestly, we did whatever was easiest and delivered the conversion metrics that we needed. Today, there are more advertising channels in the market than ever before. Every day, the fragmentation gets worse. Here's the thing. Attention drives results. When we started building Adomni back in 2015, it felt like tech had automated every part of marketing, except for digital out of home. At that time, less than 2% of digital out of home ads were bought and sold programmatically. And I'm not talking about static, I'm talking about digital. Fast forward to today, programmatic's market share is 6%. In other words, 94% of the way that digital out of home is bought and sold today is exactly the same as in the Mad Men era. Not to knock that era. I mean, who wouldn't want to be Don Draper? I love a good dirty martini. Compare digital out of home to digital online ads, where 85% are purchased programmatically. That is so freaking exciting to us. You see, we now know that digital out of home is one of the biggest influencers of consumer behavior and advertising success. When I say influencers, I don't mean this. I mean these. In fact, Nielsen just put out a brand new study this summer that showed that 66% of consumers exposed to digital out of home end up taking one of these measured actions. We also know that out of home reaches 90% of US audiences 18+. So with these kinds of performance stats, why aren't more marketers including digital out of home in their omni-channel strategy? Here's why. They have no idea that programmatic digital out of home exists, and for the few who do know it exists, they have no idea how to plan and buy it. Here's how it works. First, enter your geo targets, filter down by media type or venue type, choose your optimal audience segments, enter your budget and allocation strategies, upload your creative, launch the campaign. It's that simple. Omnichannel marketing is a lot like making smoothies. Really what makes them so good are the ingredients. Everyone's favorite smoothie is just a combination of their favorite ingredients put into one thing. Sure, you can have a smoothie with just milk and banana, but it won't be nearly as tasty or as healthy without blueberries, strawberries, and chia seeds. Delicious. Here's the exciting part. Right now in Adomni, there are over 60 billion monthly impressions across 400,000 screens and 32 different venue types. Each of the screens can have your creative changed out whenever you want. New networks like Uber are popping up, and static screens are digitizing every day. The world of digital out of home is getting bigger and brighter. Great, so we've got scale, we've got accessibility, and we've got ease of changing out creative. But how do we know that digital out of home actually works? Here's how. When you run a programmatic digital out of home campaign, you have real-time reporting access to things like amounts spent, CPMs, your impressions, and your content that's been delivered. But it doesn't end there. You can also layer on attribution reports to measure KPIs such as store visitation lift, website traffic lift, app downloads, or brand sentiment lift. We pull this off by sharing Adomni's play data with specialized measurement partners such as Mira and M4. They use mobile location data to gather a sample of exposed audiences. They then gather a sample of unexposed audiences, and voila, we compare the two to understand lift. Adomni's eliminated all of the time, expenses, and complexity with digital out-of-home planning and buying. So what are you waiting for? Out-of-home is now in your hands.
It's great to be here, Barry. Thank you. I'm excited to introduce a couple of partners of ours to this discussion as well. From R&R Partners, a leading independent advertising agency, we have here Fletcher Whitwell, who's the Chief Media and Publishing Officer, who runs R&R, as well as Chris Jakowski, who is the Corporate Director of Content Publishing. And really kind of dovetailing on what we showed in that video and thinking about the performance marketing side of omni-channel marketing, and really hearing from really two different perspectives on the agency side. One from Fletcher, who is running a full service agency, buying social, search, TV, digital out of home, and also from Chris, who is activating those campaigns, who is looking at the measurement side of it. And so starting first with you, Fletcher, can you share some of the challenges and the opportunities when it comes to omni-channel performance marketing and how digital out of home fits in there?
Thanks, Jonathan. Good to see you and Barry. And I think 2020 has taught us all to be more accountable. That's a lesson learned, not only to ourselves, but our teams and our clients, first and foremost. And so I think with the need for better accountability and ROI that our clients are pushing on us, I'm excited about what your guys' space, digital and programmatic out of home, does to bring the outdoor industry forward, and more in line with the advancements in measurement across digital and traditional media. From an agency management perspective and what we're hearing from clients, 3 areas resonate with me as we look to expand in this area of programmatic out of home. First of all, accessibility, and then targetability, and then measurability. Accessibility, let's talk about that. Programmatic platforms like yourselves offer hundreds of thousands of digital out-of-home boards and locations across the country. Further, most of the demand-side platforms all have access to digital out-of-home inventory now. And both traditional out-of-home buyers as well as programmatic digital buyers can access this inventory, taking DSPs a step further in omni-channel planning and buying, which is really exciting to us. And it can be treated just like a normal digital placement. And not too dissimilar to connected TV, when it became the norm for digital programmatic buyers to add that into their digital media mix the last year or so. Now digital out of home can be treated as an extension of the digital buy, and similar creative data, targeting, measurement, et cetera. Let's talk about targetability. Digital out of home's definitely made advancements in terms of targeting capabilities, particularly with mobile device data. We're able to choose locations and geographies that are frequented by our consumers. Not to mention now with DSPs, we can layer on additional data partners. And with the expanded presence on and in ride shares that you have with Uber, digital out of home continues to deliver the on-the-go consumer as well. And then finally, and want Chris to get into the heart of it, because I think he'll have that great perspective from a buyer's perspective, but measurability through programmatic digital out of home buying platforms. And now in DSPs, we can hold digital out of home as accountable as our digital media buys. And similarly, how we can follow a linear TV spot into the digital ecosystem through ACR, automatic content recognition, and serve down ads down the funnel to make sure that our consumers are exposed to the spot. We can do the same thing in digital out of home through targeting mobile device IDs and following in them and retargeting them down the path to purchase.
Absolutely. R&R has really been an early mover when it comes to programmatic digital out of home. And we're talking about 4 years ago, you guys were launching your first campaigns through us. There's been a lot of evolution, especially over the last year, where COVID has actually had some positive effects in terms of having inventory get connected, having more of that measurability, that ROI for us to be able to do attribution reporting. Switching gears to Chris, and really as a guy who's got his hands on the keys, both from a planning perspective, from an actual activation and measurement perspective, can you share a little bit about how you look at digital out of home as part of that omnichannel mix, and talk a little bit about, you know, the strategies that you guys employ today, and how this does kind of round out a new facet for omnichannel?
Sure. Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah. So from a tactical media planning and buying perspective, you know, that I help oversee with our clients, we're always seeking opportunities and solutions to bring offline and online together. I've seen our media plans evolve over the past several years, just trying to keep up with how fragmented consumer attention is and how they're engaging with content across any channel. And since we're always putting the consumer at the center of our media plans, we want to make sure that we're telling a cohesive brand story, that all of our channels are complementing each other, and ultimately to try to achieve a goal of reaching the same individuals across multiple channels. And it's the evolution and the enhancements in programmatic buying, ingestion of data like device ID targeting, location targeting that Fletcher had mentioned. That's what's really allowing us to complement all of our digital channels, our performance-based marketing efforts like Facebook and connected TV, things like that, to add digital out of home in the mix and be part of that conversation that it's never really been part of before, at least from a digital media planning perspective. More control, more ease of adjusting messaging whenever we need to. We can turn on, turn off media whenever we might need to. And so it's really allowing us to activate all media channels within our plan to better complement each other, like I said before, but really play a key role in moving that person down the consumer journey, through the consumer journey. And we know that, you know, the consumer journey is not linear. That's why the accessibility is so important in making sure that, you know, we're expanding potential reach across channels, and the fact that data is available in all these programmatic channels, the same types of device IDs, we have more confidence to target these people across all of their channels and really leverage each channel to their maximum capability. And Adomni's really been helping us bridge that gap, you know, between the digital and the online and the offline worlds. And like Fletcher said earlier, provide more accountability for our media plans. And, you know, I don't really see this demand for more efficient media plans and streamlined media strategies going away anytime soon. I think it's only going to get tighter as decision makers and CMOs are being forced to prove effectiveness of our media plans, try to make better connections between the channels, and tell a more cohesive brand story, all while pushing towards whatever that end goal is, which, you know, it might be foot traffic to your business, it might be website conversions. Regardless of whatever it is, I think that programmatic and just using data like this in all of your channels and being able to activate it with a more consistent media plan is something that I think is here to stay.
Chris, when it comes to, you know, the agency's structure, right, where in the past you had this team that handled traditional, this team that handled digital, this team that handled social, and thinking about now this omni-channel experience where screens are screens, audience is audience, and how the planning and buying has evolved. Can you share a little bit about how R&R has kind of broken down some of those silos, and now,
Sure.
Like connected TV, all of a sudden digital buyers are buying that through the trade desk or whatever your DSP is of choice. Can you touch upon that as well?
Sure. Yeah, I would say one of the bigger things that we had done on the agency side that Fletcher helped lead was creating a team that is more dedicated to omni-channel, a channel strategy team that is looking at the targeting options, the media consumption habits of an individual consumer. Like I said earlier, we start with the consumer and we try to understand where's the best opportunity to reach them, where's our messaging going to be most impactful. And those channel strategists on our team help guide the media buyers to better incorporate a plan that connects all the channels together. So these folks are really well tuned and educated on all the data targeting capabilities that are out there, how we can implement those into DSPs, whether it's an out-of-home DSP or, you know, like the trade desk that we use for broader media tactics, or even in Facebook or Google. So that, I would say that's probably the best thing that we've done to really bring our media plans forward and be more strategic, again, focusing on that consumer in the middle.
Definitely. And from a measurement and reporting perspective, we've got obviously, mobile data is a very kind of new piece of the puzzle that has helped us understand things like foot traffic visitation, website visitation. And so for brands that are looking for those conversion reports or that ability, like Fletcher was saying, for the accountability side, how does that evolved in terms of your way of presenting this to brands where they're maybe thinking about it a little bit differently, where before it was top of the funnel only for this particular channel, and now it's actually just part of the performance equation?
Yeah, it's been very exciting to try to conquer that challenge. It's been pretty broken for years, obviously, trying to understand the impact that certain channels have on other channels and how collectively all those channels together impact the bottom line of your business and the goals you're trying to achieve. But I think with the progress that has been made with device ID capturing, even with some of the the walled gardens of the big social and digital channels, there are still means out there to better understand how this is impacting your overall effort. And through testing, for example, if we want to test out how, if we're active on a certain channel and with like digital out of home with Facebook in a certain market, understanding what impact that has on performance. But I think giving us more confidence on the buying side that we're targeting the same devices or have more control to turn on and turn off in the out of home world, I think that's fantastic, because that's, people are still obviously spending time out of home and in front of these screens. So the attention is still there. And we want to make sure that we're maximizing the role of out of home in keeping our brands top of mind and helping lift all other channels.
Absolutely. And so to kind of close it with one statement from the video, attention drives results. And we have a hell of a lot of attention in the out of home space. So it's exciting to see how that's finally starting to bridge into the digital world and become, a tactic that your team is also employing with the rest of your social, digital, and online stuff. So thank you, Barry, everyone from the DPAA, wishing you well here from Las Vegas.
Thank you. Stay on for 1 minute. We have one question I'd just like to pose there, and if we could do it quickly to keep ourselves on time. So we have a question about national versus local in terms of programmatic digital at home. Does it work better for one or the other? Do you folks have any particular views on that?
Go ahead.
Jonathan, you can talk about the campaign that we activated with you guys for Kylie Skin. I mean, that was a great national example.
I mean, I think the short answer is that it does kind of apply to both. Whether you are promoting something on a hyper-local level and you want to do some very tight geofencing, be able to kind of optimize audiences in one market, or what Fletcher was mentioning with Kylie Jenner, where she literally was in 1,000 cities at the same time, launched and planned within 2 days. It absolutely is flexible and usable for both. The key is just making sure that you're using a planning and buying tool that affords you the ability to do that, right? Where you can come down as low level as, specific street corners or areas in a town, and maybe even zoom out and choose entire countries and certain media type, venue types. So yeah, no, I think it does work for both, and we're absolutely having customers from both sides.
That's great. Specificity, targeting, and true national if needed. And that was great, by the way, Jonathan, where Kylie basically launched her cosmetics brand on the backs of Adomni. That's a great success for Adomni and digital out of home. Thank you, folks, so much. That was a great session. And Jonathan, also some great video leading in. It really was a Super Bowl type video for our Super Bowl of global digital out of home. Well done, Jonathan. Thank you, Fletcher, and thank you, Chris.